those of you I do not know.
So happy to have you on today. I hope you're doing so well. Welcome to Chicago. So happy to have you here. If you let's actually someone says too much lag. Can you hear me? Is
Yes.
there Okay, great. Alrighty. We'll get started off with a few rapid fire questions just to get to know you a bit if that sounds good.
Sure. I'm
All
gonna
right.
put to help with. Does that help with quality of sound at all?
You sound great to me. So sounds good. Alrighty. Do you have a current favorite TV show that you're watching these days?
Ooh, just on Ozark. Ooh, there we go. I think this just connected. How does that sound?
You sound great.
Okay, okay, perfect. I'm trying to catch up on Ozark right now. I'm a little behind, and right now I'm living in an Airbnb with several castmates, and everyone's watching Stranger Things. So I definitely need to catch up on that as well.
So good, so good. What was the last show you saw that wasn't My Fair Lady?
Ooh, I saw Six recently and loved it. I saw Strange Loop in New York. We had a week off of work in a couple months ago, and I saw Strange Loop and loved that right before it won the Tony. I try to see everything. I'm based in New York City, and so when I'm not doing a show, I'm trying to see every single show. I love seeing theater as much as I love doing it.
Absolutely, absolutely. What has been your favorite thing about being in Chicago so far?
I have loved being a tourist here. I did that architecture boat tour and it blew my mind. I think I want to try all of the different, like I know there are lots of different providers of that same tour. I want to do all of them and like do a compare contrast because I loved it so much. I've definitely loved the food here. I will say this is a city that I just expected my costumes to fit a little tighter because I knew that I was going to go in on the food. Everything's so good. We've been comparing all the pizzas, of course.
Absolutely, a must. Okay, everyone who's watching, if you have recommendations for pizza places, Colleen, put them in the comments. Give her all the recommendations. Like,
Please, I think I've hit the big three. I think that from what I understand, there are three main ones that I should try, and I've enjoyed all of them.
so alrighty. And then, what was the first production you were ever in? Does not have to be professional.
I was in a production of Sound of Music when I was 5 years old. I played Gretel. And the way that it happened, I was in school, and our librarian had two older daughters who were actors, and they were like children, actresses. And they were in a local professional production, and the Gretel was having a very hard time memorizing her blocking and her lines. And so they needed to find someone to like take over until she learned the role. And my librarian said, "Oh, you seem pretty quick, and I was very charismatic and chatty as a kid. The chattiness has not changed." And so she called my mom directly and said, like, "Hey, they're looking for a Gretel. I think Colleen would be really good." And my mom had no idea about nothing about theater. And I went to audition. I sang Happy Birthday for the audition. And I went to the first day of rehearsal, and I came home and I told my mom, I was 5 years old, and I said, "This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life."
Ah,
I got the bug, got bitten by the theater bug early. And it's true. I've stuck with it now.
that's incredible. All right. Well, then I want to start at the very beginning. You mentioned how, you caught the theater bug with Sound of Music or just the acting bug in general. Is there something specific that kept you acting within a theater space versus going to do acting on TV or movies or commercials or such?
Sure. For me, and I do a little bit of all of that as well. I've found a primary home in theater, and for me, it's because it's the most collaborative. It's so fun to be in a rehearsal room. I love my favorite thing in all of like working in theater is doing pre-production work, which is before the show when it's still like in the discovery phase and like going in and doing a workshop of a new musical. I love to do it where everyone in the room has an equal voice and everyone can kind of chime in. And I've definitely done some work on shows that I've not then been in the later production, but I've seen, and there are lines that I like made up that made it on stage. And it's so fun to feel like that collaborative sense of community is what keeps drawing me back. I don't find that in the other mediums of acting as much. Of course, there are great benefits to doing those as well. But for me, it's the creation and shared experience and all being in the room that makes it so special. And also the longevity of a run for My Fair Lady, some of us have been attached to this now. I mean, I joined when the tour began, which was in fall of 2019. And we have some people in our cast who did it on Broadway as well prior to our tour who have been part of My Fair Lady family for, I mean, what, 4 years? Um, and so to get to be with the project that long and to get to see the new faces that come in and there's a joy in that and getting to see something through for a long period of time.
Absolutely. When you think back when you first joined My Fair Lady, what initially made you say yes to join this show?
Well, this is a dream. This is the dream show. I think getting to be part of a Lincoln Center Theater production where the production value is just absolutely unbelievable. I saw the production on Broadway and immediately was like, that's a show I have to be in. I feel like I live in the world of the show. It's not a, you know, a stretch. The costumes and hats, like, and set just like blew my mind away. Just like the production value there. I was like, I just want to wear those costumes. I want to wear those hats. And uh, yeah, and it's such a beautiful score to sing as well. It was I see a lot of shows that I think like, oh, this is so fun to enjoy, but I don't see myself up there on that stage. That's not necessarily a show that I live in the world of easily, or there's nothing for me, you know, like I don't see myself reflected up there on stage. And that's great. I still enjoy it as a patron of the arts. Uh, but this was a show that I was like, oh, I can so see myself up there. Please, please let this happen. And so I auditioned a lot trying to become a part of this, and whew, it worked.
And you made it. You made it. And you are one of the understudies for Eliza. And I apologize for leaving it off the graphic, but I would love to know, you know, when we see you up on stage, I think it's hard or it's easy to forget that this is your job. Can you tell us a little bit about the prep you do as an understudy? You know, you have your own regular tracks, but now you also have to learn the lead role.
Sure. So the priority first was learning, you know, I knew my role and was very solid in that. And then there are understudy rehearsals where you get to rehearse with the other understudies and try to learn the show. And now that I've performed it several times, my upkeep is I sing through the whole score once a week. I sing through all of the Eliza songs just to make sure I'm vocally where I need to be, that they're still fresh. And I run through all of the lines at least once a week where I just like have the script open in front of me. I just say out loud every line to make sure the accent is fresh, to make sure I'm still memorized. I'm kind of running through the show in my head to make sure I know where to stand. And then I also stand in the wings and watch the show very often. I probably more often than not, I'm standing in the wings watching. And I see other understudies there doing the same thing. We all have our different routines for keeping it fresh, but you know, we could go on with a moment's notice. And so if you're not on top of it and staying super present in it, then that could be catastrophic.
Yeah, totally. When you think of the role of Eliza and when you do play her, where do you draw your inspiration from and where do you make this character your own after, you know, big names have played her name, Julie Andrews and Audrey Hepburn. How do you make her yours?
I for me the answer is like always going back to the text. It's we are given such a gift with this uh, script. It's just there's and oh hi Laird, Laird McIntosh. He's here. He plays Henry Higgins. I think that as trite and like theater schooly as this may sound, uh, using the script and trying to live truthfully within that um, is the best thing. I'm trying to live in the same role that Shireen Ahmed has beautifully created as Eliza, because you don't want to depart too far from, as an understudy, you don't want to throw off the other actors on stage. You obviously have to do a very similar show to the person you're understudying. And she has built the most beautiful, rounded, gorgeous character. So I've learned so much by watching her work. And I also just like shout out to her because I love her so dearly as a friend and as a human being and as a talent. She has taken so much time to say, hey, let's talk about the role if you have any questions, because I wasn't in the rehearsal room when she was just, you know, initially learning the role. So she said, if you have any moments that you're confused about, or that, you know, the motivation is, you don't understand why you're doing something. So I've used her as a resource, as well as Nicole Ferguson, who's the other Eliza understudy. We've all chatted together to kind of flesh out the character, which is just such a gift to be able to have the two of them to talk with. So initially basing it off of their work and making sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be standing, saying what I'm supposed to be saying at the right time. Um, Yeah, and then in trying to make it my own, I think I do think that just kind of happens because I am my own self, and what I bring to the table is Colleen Grate playing Eliza Doolittle. I can't do Shireen Ahmed playing Eliza or Nicole Ferguson playing Eliza because we're all so different. Um, yes, I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely. So now you've been on tour since 2019, and so how is tour life for you? Is this your tour debut?
This is my tour debut. I've never toured before. I am loving it. I tour with my dog, which is it's the best. He travels very well. I wish I had him here right now. I would pull him up, but he's in another room right now. Uh, yeah, I really like it. I think that tour can be challenging, you know, living on the road. We are spending 2 weeks here in Chicago, and we spend 2 weeks in, I think, one more city, and then the rest of our run is all just single weeks. And so there's not a lot of time to get settled into a space. There's not a lot of time to explore and be a tourist. And so I really try to maximize my time. I try to hit an art museum in every city. I always try to eat some good local food. I always default to Chipotle, and I'm like, why am I eating at Chipotle? I should be eating local food. I should be trying to like eat the local cuisine. Um, I feel like I'm built for this and can tour again, and hope to for many years. Um, yeah, it's wonderful.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, we are nearing the end of our time, but I want to ask, what do
Mhm.
you want patrons and theater goers to know after seeing this show? You know that this rendition of the show does have a little bit of a twist from the original,
Yeah,
I think, in the best way. What do you hope
sure.
people walk away with?
I hope that the our theater goers who love the film and um, are that they're open to the idea of this being told through a modern lens that uh, I don't want to like you know give too much away. I think that having an open heart and mind is the way to view this because this is the way it has to be told now. At least that's how I view it. I think it's such a beautiful opportunity to come hear some of the songs that you know and love sung so gorgeously. I could praise each of our individual actors in our cast. I could go on for 15 minutes just talking about how wonderful each of them are, both as you know, as people and in the role, in the roles they play. Um, so I would say come in ready for a good time and a beautiful ride. And I'm personally so thrilled that this really seems to be a vehicle for Eliza's story. She's the one uh, who who is in charge here. She has the reins. She has the reins in our version of this beautiful classic.
So good. Colleen, thank you so much for sharing your time and time with us. We're so grateful. For all you who are watching, come see My Fair Lady. It's at the Cadillac Palace Theater until this Sunday only. Like Colleen said, the production value is just stunning. The beautiful, the hats magnificent. The set is really, really incredible. They have this people turning house. It's amazing. You want to see it. You want to see it. Come see it. Get your tickets, BroadwayInChicago.com. You won't want to miss it. Colleen, thank you so, so much. Have a wonderful rest of your time in Chicago, and we hope to have you back here soon.
Thank you. And if anyone has any further questions, they can message me. I'm happy to answer any further questions as well.
Yes, you can find Colleen at Colleen Grate. Is that correct? On
That
Instagram.
is correct.
There we go. Colleen, thank you so much. Everyone, have a great rest of your Thursday. Have a great Thursday, everyone.
Thank you.